All over the world, frogs are in trouble, and big trouble. A third of the world's remaining amphibian species are now in danger of extinction. Scientists are calling this the amphibian crisis, as last time extinction rates were this high was when the dinosaurs died out. To blame is habitat destruction, pollution, and disease, and scientists are working on solutions. But unfortunately, it's too late for many frogs to recover. Here's the story of one species, a small frog on a remote island, and its struggle to survive. This is the red frog story. This is Bastimentos Island. It's located off the Caribbean coast of Panama. With lush rainforest and beautiful tropical beaches, the island has attracted a variety of life. But the most famous island resident is often heard before it is seen. While the species as a whole has a large distribution, this particular bright red, black speckled frog is only found on this island. Its coloration has earned it the name the strawberry poison dart frog. As the name suggests, the frog is poisonous. It uses its special diet of ants and termites to concentrate deadly toxins on its skin. Its bright colors are a signal to predators that the toxins on its skin not only taste bad, but can cause paralysis and death. This defense mechanism is important, as the frog's small size would otherwise make it an easy meal for snakes, birds, and other predators. These frogs can be found on the forest floor, often near the bases of large trees. When it's dry, the frogs climb these trees and rest in small pools of water in special plants called bromeliads. It's from these lookouts above the forest floor the frogs have been watching their island change. In the last 8 years, I've watched their island change too, and on some parts of the island, the frogs are starting to disappear.
Here's Shelly at Red Frog Beach.
I first came to this island in 2007 for my honeymoon. We hired a small boat to take us to a beautiful beach.
But it's called Red Frog Beach because it's the only place in the world where these guys are found. You still see them, Shelly?
There's another one down there.
The red frogs were everywhere.
They're about the size of your thumbnail.
And when I say everywhere, I mean like watch your step everywhere. We saw frogs every few feet all over the Red Frog Beach area. The place really lived up to its name.
Right down there. Very, very tiny.
But a few years later, the frogs near the beach seemed to have disappeared. It was time to return to the island and try to figure out what was going on. I started in the town of Old Bank, looking for locals who knew about the frogs. The search led me to Vladimir, who worked for a development called the Red Frog Beach Club.
We were just simple workers, so we couldn't, there was no one protecting that because, you know, when you come on a small island like this, you know, the people who come in have money, them do what they want on this island. digging up the earth like that, you know, you get the frog, them scare them, run away. There was lots of big snakes, lots of animals, man. Them throw down big trees, so it affect the jungle. Like you turn the jungle to a city, it's hard for the animal them.
The original development plans included a golf course and many more structures than what came to be. Still, the now named Red Frog Beach Resort is the largest development by far on the island, and the only place cars and golf carts can be found. I asked Vladimir if he'd noticed changes in the frog population.
The last time I was there, I think a lady and her husband there were looking for red frog, and I think we find like one. We have like 5 hour shots, and we find one. And they were a small, tiny one. I don't know where them gone, but them is not there.
During my 2013 and 2014 trips, I couldn't find any frogs at Red Frog Beach. But there were signs stating the frog population was being monitored. In 2013, I noticed a small area of rainforest had been fenced off. At that time, the enclosure had several frogs in it, as well as informational signs. But compared to others on the island, the fenced trees seemed dry and unhealthy, and with no other frogs nearby, it was unclear how the frogs in the enclosure got there. It also didn't seem like good frog habitat. The bromeliads were brown and the leaf litter was raked away. Both not good things for the frogs. In any case, the exhibit now seems to be closed. With the frogs missing from the area, a business opportunity was born. Children started collecting the frogs from other areas and bringing them to the beach for tourist tips. The frogs are not used to the bright sun and actually rely on the forest canopy for shade and to keep their bodies cool. According to warning signs now posted on the beach, children would gather new frogs each morning, use them for the day's profits, then carelessly discard them. A few years ago, when red frogs could still be found at Red Frog Beach, it sounded different. Even though they're less than an inch long, these frogs can produce quite a sound. These calls can be heard from quite a distance away. In fact, while filming, that's how we found most of the frogs. The calls are used to attract mates, but also to declare territories. The male frogs are extremely territorial, and sometimes disputes must be settled. The forest floor becomes a battleground, with fights over territory and the breeding rights that come with it. The tiny frogs roll and wrestle in the leaves, each attempting to control the other by climbing on its back. After the rainfall, small puddles form in the leaves, and the fights intensify. For the goal is not only to pin your opponent, but to drown them. These behaviors are important as the weakest frogs are forced out of the best breeding territories and the gene pool. These fights can last up to 20 minutes and are often watched by the female from a safe distance. Thankfully, most fights end with one frog simply hopping away. On a different part of the island lies the town of Old Bank. The buildings and shacks are beautiful colors, and most of the town overlooks the Caribbean. The town has no cars, or roads really, just a network of pathways, docks, and wooden planks. Unfortunately, what many visitors to the town remember is the trash. In town, piles of trash can be found everywhere. The trash ranges from bottles and cans and discarded food to even appliances. I headed to Roberto and Debbie's house. They've lived on the island since 2010 and have been involved in several cleanup attempts. Rob was able to offer some insight on the trash problem.
Go back a little bit in history. About 20 years ago, there wasn't any tourism on this island. There was nothing. Nobody came here. It was just them fishing, having a couple of chickens, growing bananas, cocoa trees. So everything they had as packaging was like organic packaging. Banana peel, cocoa nut. So they could actually throw everything into the sea without any problems. When tourism came and plastic bottles came and plastic bags came, for them, in their opinion, it's still packaging. It's still the same organic material that they had before. They don't know what it does to the environment. I saw restaurants on this island throwing 6, 7 big black bags of trash into the sea. I know this lady, and I went to her and I tried to explain to her what it did, and she just didn't understand it. If tourism stops coming to Bastimentos or to Bocas in general, you will not have your restaurant anymore. If you keep throwing trash into the sea and it will wash up on shore again, the tourists will see that this is a filthy place and they will stop coming. She still had her argument. I cannot leave it on my dog. Yeah. And this was a situation where actually months without any trash pickup. Now, in this climate, as you can understand, it's not very wise to leave your trash in a bag inside of your house. It will attract anything. So what people did is, well, they just put it on the docks. They just put it on the streets. They just threw it in the jungle. They burned it. The place was smelling with plastic burnings. So it wasn't a good situation.
The trash in the jungle is a problem for the frogs, as they have no choice but to absorb the toxins through their porous skin. To make matters worse, many of the people who throw trash in the jungle do so near the bases of large trees, an important habitat for the frogs. Each day, as the frogs journey from the forest floor to the bromeliads in the trees, they have to climb through these trash piles. In the last few years, businesses in the town have attempted to solve the trash problem. They've installed waste bins along the pathways and encouraged everyone to use them. The beach itself is quite clean, as it is frequently groomed by maintenance workers. Unfortunately, a lot of the trash from the beach gets raked or thrown into the jungle and into the frogs' habitat. Some areas that once contained large amounts of frogs now contain large amounts of trash. Aside from the frogs, Red Frog Beach is also important to sea turtles. 4 of the world's 7 sea turtle species use the beach for nesting. But with the increased activity on the beach, there is concern the sea turtles are also being affected. During my 2013 and 14 visits, it became clear that the abundance of red frogs, for which the beach was named, was a thing of the past. Whether it's habitat destruction, trash, or something else, the frogs seemed a lot harder to find than 8 years ago. But there is one thing that seems to increase the frog activity: the rain. The frogs have many different color morphs on the island, and they all come out after the rain. With all the activity, many of the frogs turn their attention to each other. Unlike most frogs, the strawberry poison dart frogs lay very few eggs and take care of their tadpoles. This parenting is no small task. To keep their tadpoles hydrated, the frogs must take advantage of the pools of water found in the bromeliads. This means carrying their tadpoles on their backs high up into the trees where the plants grow. I've never witnessed this in the wild, but a frog keeper shared his footage with me. See the tadpole climbing on its mother's back? For thousands of years, the frogs have been climbing the trees on this island, carrying their young to better pools, better homes. At some point, humans came to the island, and the frogs shared their home. Even Columbus stopped by on his final voyage to the New World. He was anchored for 2 weeks off this island. So for thousands of years, along with the waves, these frogs' chirps have been the soundtrack for the island. But with what's going on, I wonder what the island will sound like in just a few years. Many scientists refer to frogs as indicator species, a species thought to be sensitive to and therefore to serve as an early warning indicator of environmental changes. When something's wrong in the environment, indicator species are the first wildlife to disappear. So what does it mean when an indicator species returns to a location? There's a place like this on the island, a place that once had few frogs and now has many. This is up in the hill. It's a coffee shop and an organic farm. It's also home to a large frog population, but it wasn't always that way. I interviewed the owner, Javier. It was during a rainstorm, so you'll hear that in the background.
My name is Javier. I'm from Argentina. I live in Bastimentos for 17 years. Like 12 years ago, we started with this project up in the hill organic farm. When we buy this place, it's all cow farm. There's a lot, not have trees, not have nature. So we started to planting flowers, trees, and plants, different like tropic plants. They grow so easy here, you know. When we started the project, we never see red frogs around to the house. No, we don't see birds, we don't see nothing, because we have plants, we have nothing here. And with the years, starting to have more. We have really nice population of red frog everywhere, and it's really nice to see how everything is grown, not only the plants, so everything natural.
I asked Javier how long it took the frogs to return.
It takes like 2-3 years when we started to see more frogs. We started to see couple, and after 2-3 years we see everywhere. And working very good with the bromelia, the same family to the pineapple plant. We really love it. We put the eggs over inside there because every time have water. So it's nice, and we never caught in the bromelia, they growing in the palms, in the trees, because we know this is a good habitat for the red frogs.
At Up in the Hill, they've provided habitat for the frogs. This means they left bromeliads in the trees and leaf litter on the ground, and the frogs came back. The coffee shop benefits from the frogs being around too, as they are an important part of the ecosystem. The frogs consume ants and termites. They are also an important factor in tourism, as people come to the shop to see the local wildlife. I wonder what would happen if they did the same thing on other parts of the island, like not cutting down bromeliads and instead growing them. What if the trash were properly disposed of and didn't pollute the jungle? What if kids didn't pluck frogs from the forest? What would happen if the manicured green lawns in front of luxury houses were replaced with plants and leaves? Would the frogs return? If they did, then each front yard could become a small frog sanctuary, and all the proud owners could declare this was Red Frog Beach. And it still is.